What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. There's a new patch to the game to add in a new Mei skin that you can unlock with Overwatch League tokens that you get from watching the matches. This weekend begins the knockout phase for the Mei Melee. So Blizzard's making a very clever pun with a Mei Melee skin. Mei dressed up as a fighter. This one is a must-have. I nearly have enough coins to get it. I'm definitely getting this one. But I wonder if they're going to have now skins for every tournament throughout the year. That would be pretty cool, but it could get pretty pricey, so you may want to be selective on when you spend your tokens if there's going to be a new skin per tournament. Not sure on that one. The bigger Overwatch news drop came from an interview with GameSpot. Keller, who now is the director of the game, went on to clear up questions about how the team is handling Jeff's departure, plans for Overwatch 2, its business model, which is important to everybody. But the first thing I want to emphasize is a clarification on the new feature that is coming soon. Aaron really bigs this up. Okay, he hinted at it as soon as Jeff left, leaving us to speculate on what it might be, and he explains that there are really big features and systems coming soon, as big as anything we've built for this game, and the amount of resources that we've poured into these have been massive across almost every aspect of our team to do it. Those will be coming out soon. I don't have a date that I can announce right now. Hopefully it's something that we're able to start talking about somewhere in the near future, but I'm very excited about them, and I can't wait to see people's reactions. So I'm gonna be real, this article had a lot of PR fluff in it. I think it was intended to soften the blow of Jeff leaving so the stock price doesn't plummet, because there wasn't really much content in it, to be honest. But this teaser is really odd from Blizzard, because typically they try to undersell everything that they have upcoming, and instead Aaron is saying this is as big as anything they've added before. I think that really narrows it down to what it could be, especially when you add into the context of what we know it won't be. If it was a new map or hero or game mode, that seems inside the scope of what they normally do and explicitly what they said they're not going to do more of in terms of new heroes. Instead, he is saying it is a feature, but also further a system. And I went back into the previous year's interviews with Blizzard. There hasn't been a lot of communication, to be honest, but there was a lightning round with the creators a year ago when they invited us all to the server so we could have more direct communication with the developers. Then a Reddit AMA discussing more of this. And then most recently, of course, a couple months ago, we just had BlizzCon Online. Back around BlizzCon, there was a subtle leak that seemed to indicate that there was a clan system in the works. This image, when originally on the BlizzCon Online presentation, was blurred, but they had a blog post that didn't have it blurred, and you can very clearly see Clan C9 on the player card, seeming to indicate a clan system of some sort. Now, over the past year, a lot of the things that the developers said they were either excited or enthusiastic about have come true, but there's a few things left. An in-game tournament mode, map picks or vetoes of some sort, and of course, the conversation always returned back to clans, which they have previously said that if they were to do it, and they're excited about it, but if they were, they would need to really get all the teams involved. It would be a Blizzard-wide thing. And at least for us PC gamers, you would have noticed that the Blizzard launcher underwent quite a big update quite recently, which I thought was a little suspicious. And if you look back to timelines of when they said they were excited or trying out different changes, the timelines seem to add up. Like, it takes them about a year from them saying, we're really excited about this, but we'll need a budget time for it. Usually by then, coming back around, then they finally come to fruition because, well, what else have they been doing, right? They want to try to tease out what their plans are without committing, but by the time a year comes up, then they surprise us with saying, oh, here's the thing that we've been doing. Because think about it. What else could they add to Overwatch that would be in the scope of Overwatch 1? Like, what I mean is, they're not adding all the Overwatch 2 stuff in. That wouldn't make much sense, especially things they need the new engine for, or combinations of heroes. Like, if it was that, why not just say we're gonna start heroes again, right? Like, it just doesn't really make sense. I think instead, what you need to be thinking about is features that are similar in scope to, like, role queue, right? So a small feature would be the priority pass system, or perhaps the endorsement system. Longtime fans may remember how how other members of the Blizzard team have explained this, where they have a crawl, walk, and run approach to these different ideas. And over the long arc, you can finally see how these things all come together, where although we may feel like endorsements or LFG is just sort of sitting there doing nothing, not really useful for anything, Blizzard's view of it kind of wants a conclusion to that. And I think that may be a clan system where they can begin utilizing it and getting it ready for Overwatch 2, because realistically, what it's going to be best used for is the PvE co-op content for the sequel. That's really where I think they're expecting the money to be made, the audience to go. Players absolutely love that kind of content, whereas Overwatch PvP, it's a little too challenging, difficult, competitive. It's alienating for people, especially with the way really annoying creators like myself are always trying to push it towards not being so easy and forgiving. It's really hard for Blizzard to have their cake and eat it too with that, where they want the game to be appealing to everybody, but they don't want things to be easily broken and just destroy the competitive integrity at the same time. And those are competing ideologies for the heart of the game, which is why you can see how they've put so much more emphasis on PvE. That's the best thing that I could see coming, unless it's a complete surprise what this feature is. But I just can't imagine something that's in the scope of Overwatch 1 while needing all of the teams to contribute and to be at the scale of the biggest features they've added, like roll queue. Like, what's bigger than that? We've got LFG, the endorsement system, roll queue, the priority pass, the arcade mode, the workshop, whatever you think the biggest version of that is. We're gonna get something that size into Overwatch 1? The only thing I could think of is like a map editor. That would be pretty cool, but does that really need every team to contribute? You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's actually so limited that I can't see what else it could be other than a guild clan type system. I don't anticipate the game to go free to play anytime soon based on how they've reacted about the rest of the business model. But the other idea I had is that perhaps an in-game achievement system that was like a battle pass would also be added into this, where the game can give you reasons to do different things, play different characters, play different modes, challenges and stuff like that. That's more aligned what we're gonna expect for Overwatch 2 PvE, but I also think that's would be a no-brainer to also add to the PvP, more of those RPG systems. This is all pretty interconnected, and I'm pretty confident that I'm near what it's got to be, because what else could it be? You tell me. Okay, I'm just one man guessing here, but based on Aaron's replies here in this interview, you'd think if it was going to come around the anniversary, he would say that. So perhaps it's on a wider window than that, but that would be a good time for them to add it for sure. So I'd either say around then or shortly thereafter. We can expect whatever this new big features and systems. Okay, that's a big deal. Is it a ranked overhaul? That's what I want. There's only so many ways to play Overwatch. How can you have big systems that aren't a ranked mode? You know what I mean? It's like, what other systems do you even need? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. It'll be interesting to read your replies. Now, the other aspects of the interview, I'm not gonna go into as much depth into because I feel like there's just some severe Blizzard PR speak going on throughout this. A lot of these old media institutions are just so buddy-buddy with developers. They don't really ask pressing questions and let them get away with really vague answers most of the time. But Aaron Keller did go on to explain how he will be managing the team and how everyone is dealing with Jeff leaving. Like, half of this article is all about the touchy-feely stuff of that, but I'll try to distill down just some of the key points to get the gist of what they even said. But long story short is that everyone in the management of the game are senior member developers that have been around for a long time. It's not like the game is Jeff Kaplan. In fact, what I think we can expect from what he said in this article, but also what happened at BlizzCon Online, is that there'll be more democratized communication. We already saw this with the Overwatch 2 reveal, where every developer for their own specific section of the game got to speak. And it seemed to me at the time that Jeff was kind of passing the baton to Aaron Keller to take lead, as well as spread out who gets to talk and explain what they're doing with the game. Aaron Keller explains that he's not Jeff. The way he's going to speak and handle communication with the community would be a bit different. He doesn't feel as comfortable being on camera, answering questions quickly, and essentially he doesn't really rate his own public speaking skills, but in no way feels nervous about his position in leading the game, because he's been right alongside Jeff this entire way. In fact, working with him since World of Warcraft. So when I said originally when Aaron is the guy to step up, it's like it just seems so obvious to me that I wasn't concerned either, to be honest. And Aaron says, although Jeff was good at balancing this, he also was the vice president of Blizzard. And whereas Aaron, or Aaron, as the memers have been calling him, is solely focused on Overwatch. So that seems to be indicating that he'll be taking lead in this. And I do believe him. I've had the chance to meet Aaron Keller. He's every bit as genuine and qualified to do this job as Jeff was, from what I know. I think we're in good hands and I'm not worried at all. I do think it's a little weird, the circumstances of Jeff leaving and how that exactly went. Some seem to think that he was fired, but I think BlizzCon made it seem like he was already starting to pass the torch. So I'm of two minds with it. It's hard to tell how that relationship went or what was the actual cause of him leaving. Often these kinds of things aren't as salacious of a reality as you might dream up as a narrative. You might have just been tired of doing it and wanted to do something else. You know, it doesn't have to be some fight with Activision and an epic battle. It could be something mundane. It could be very serious. Like, we just don't really know. What Aaron does do to try to quell our fears a little bit is explain the plans for Overwatch 2 moving forward, particularly with the content of it, as well as the business model, which is still seemingly up for debate. But every single time they speak, it's like they're opening the door bit by bit towards free-to-play, but without actually saying it. The interviewer does ask the Overwatch game director, Aaron Keller, how they're going to compete with the Fortnites of the world who are producing content constantly. And Aaron did say that the commitment to quality of Blizzard has always been something that they strive for, and said they want to retain that, but perhaps can release things more frequently than before by like emboldening the dev team. Like, that's how they plan to do it, it seems, that they're just getting way more devs. I think it's safe to say that Blizzard will still keep that quality aspect of their games, but perhaps just be a bit quicker at it. Games like Fortnite or Valorant can release patches that either break the game functionally, or the balance is just entirely off, or there's some new mechanic everybody hates. That's one downside of frequently just tossing stuff at the game, but we've already kind of got a taste of that with how fast they balance the game of Overwatch, and I think if they just added content in the same way, it wouldn't feel too different than other games, and we might still feel the same about the quality standard. So I think it's safe to say you can take him at his word with that, where quite simply, will they try to produce more? Yes, that's the standard of the gaming industry now. That's why they have more devs. The quality itself remains to be seen, but I see no reason to expect it to dramatically drop, to be honest. He does say for Overwatch 2, they have quite a lot of content planned, but the fans will just have to kind of wait and see for them to properly begin supporting that game, which isn't even out yet. So actions will speak louder than words in that regard. He does describe it, though, as Overwatch 2 having a constant heartbeat being a huge value for the game, so that the game feels alive. So they're going to be constantly keeping up with it. Isn't going to commit to the business model on whether they'll have a battle pass or not, or any of the particulars on that yet, but it's hard to imagine how they can do that, continue to produce content for the game without systems like that. That's why those systems exist. So it just seems inevitable that some degree of that is going to be the case. They can talk about how they want to focus on the quality of the content all they like, but we all know what comes next with that, right? So although they may not want to commit to answering that question, it almost seems self-evident to me that one goes with the other. All right, so that's everything for that interview. I look forward to reading what you guys have to say in terms of what we think this new big feature that's as big as anything they've ever added could be. Let me know your thoughts on everything in the comment section down below. Remember, you can earn Overwatch League tokens by tuning into the Mei Melee this week, and if you want to see how the current meta strategies have been developing, you can watch my most recent video breaking down the Houston Outlaws and San Francisco Shock game. Not our most popular content, but those who did watch it seem to enjoy it a lot. So if you do give it the time, I think you might enjoy it as well, and hopefully learn a lot while being entertained. So check that out. Otherwise, that's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. We'll see you guys next time.